welcome to my video today. I am Reverend Evan Wilkins, and I am here to bring you a message about change. So hopefully it will speak to some of you and really just kind of give you some different ways to think about change, and maybe some different ways to approach it that you haven't thought about. So, one of the things that is inevitable in this human experience is change. And with change, we can either choose to embrace change or we can run from it. But it really makes no difference which of those we choose, because change is one of those things that is happening all around us all the time. In fact, when we really think about it, you're probably not the same person you were when you woke up this morning, right? Because either you have produced a new cell in your body, making you a different person, or maybe you even shed a hair that you woke up with this morning, making you a little bit different than what you were when you woke up. So in my opinion, it's pretty safe to say that change is just inevitable. And with this knowledge, I feel that we have different ways we can approach it. The two I want to focus on today are: one, approaching from fear. So in other words, we can put our hands over our ears, we can close our eyes, and we can really just say, hey, I'm going to pretend that change isn't happening. I'm just going to shut it out and pretend that's not happening. Because when we fear it, we likely fear it because we feel uncomfortable with it. And we don't like to feel that way. Nobody likes to feel uncomfortable. Or we can also choose to embrace change. We can open the curtains, throw open the windows, just let it all flow in and just, bask in it. But let's first talk about fearing change. Because when we fear it, we likely want to avoid it as much as possible. Because like I mentioned earlier, it's because it feels uncomfortable. And we don't like to feel uncomfortable. I mean, that's just part of the human nature, part of this human experience. We don't like to feel uncomfortable. I don't like it either, I once stayed in a job for far too long. My manager was very toxic. Everybody that I worked with on that team, due to that toxicity, suffered from lack of self-confidence, and energy just felt off when you would walk through the doors. But I stayed because I was comfortable there. I knew exactly what to expect. I knew that my boss was going to likely berate somebody at any given moment. I knew somebody on the team would inevitably complain about how things were going. But despite those things, I was aware of the work I had to do every day. I knew what exactly to do when I went in and logged on. And I really had developed a routine around that. I knew the faces of the people I worked with. I was comfortable with them. I knew exactly what was expected of me. And although I didn't like where I was or like the situation that was happening, I had at least grown to feel comfortable. And I would sometimes think about making a change, getting out of there, finding something new. But in the back of my mind, I was also a little nervous, because that little voice would kick in and it would start its chatter and it would say, hey, Evan, what if the next situation is worse than this one? And then all of those what ifs would start going through my mind, thinking about change. And because I was uncomfortable with the thought of change, I avoided it. And I stayed where I was for far longer than I should have. And that's with a job. But of course, it could be with anything. We could use, the Unity of Beaverton as an example. Everybody, you all at the Unity of Beaverton have gone through this transitional period at the church. You've got this new person here standing in front of you, sitting in front of you, wherever you're attending. And you may have only met me a couple times, if you've met me at all. And you don't really know much about me, right? When your last minister left, some of you may have started asking yourself questions. Oh no, what happens next? Will the doors close? How are we going to navigate this? Will we ever have another minister? When? What is that person going to be like? It could have been any number of things. And some of you may have also thought, hey, it's time for a change, and find yourselves embracing it. So the one thing about change is that when we allow ourselves to be open to it, we might just find that we can navigate the unknown better than we thought. And that it can lead to some really cool things. It can lead to some really cool experiences. And it can oftentimes be the beginning of something very wonderful. And I feel that at this time I would be really remiss if I don't mention our country. So while I stand here and speak about change, maybe it's just me, but I look around and I see a lot of things I don't like. lot of things that I don't like right now. And one could say that the changes we're seeing swirling all around us don't necessarily feel so positive. People are being injured. People are being separated from their children. People are losing the place that they have called home for many, many years and sometimes even killed. Our LGBTQ plus are being bullied with an especially horrific vitriol directed towards transgender people. But I also have to choose to believe that there will be another side of this. Because in this change, there are also things coming to the surface. Things that have been hidden just beneath our feet. Things that have gone on for far too long. Racism, misogyny, and other horrifically terrible things. And those things have been boiling just under the surface for decades. And despite the decades and even centuries of work, these things still haven't gone away. They've just been hidden in the depths of someone's closet, waiting for the perfect opportunity to make themselves known again. So I have to choose to believe that on the other side of this, there is something different. But by now we've chosen or we have figured out that this change is difficult to navigate through. It's painful. It's uncertain. It's sad. It's maddening. And it is horrifically uncomfortable. And it's going to likely get more difficult, especially as November approaches. But those things I mentioned a bit ago, the racism and misogyny and those other horrible things of that nature, they don't go away quickly. Imagine taking a child to a park. The moment you arrive, that child runs off with excitement. They climb the gym. They swing as high as they can. They race down the slides. They run from one piece of equipment to the next. And in that moment, the park feels like paradise. To that child, it is a perfect place. It's full of joy. It's full of freedom. It's full of endless fun. And if you've ever been the adult in that situation, you know what happens next. Eventually, you're going to have to walk up to the child and say, it's time to go. You walk over and say, it's time to leave. And suddenly, everything changes. The child may protest. They may stomp their feet. They may cry. They may even have a full meltdown right there next to the swings. Because in their mind, they're thinking, why? Why do we have to leave? I like it here. This is my happy place. Here, I can do whatever I want. But the truth is this. The park was never meant to be the final destination. It was only a moment along the journey. And as the child is led away, sometimes kicking and screaming, the further they get from the park, the more they long to go back to that moment. That moment that to them, everything felt perfect. Now, what we are experiencing right now in our country is far more complicated than leaving a child on the play, or than a child leaving the playground. But in some ways, the human response can be similar. Because we are living in a moment of change. Things are shifting all around us. Socially, culturally, spiritually. And whenever change happens, there are always going to be people who want to move forward. And people who desperately want to stay where things felt familiar. Some want to leave the park. Others want to stay on the swings forever. But life doesn't work that way. Things must change for us to evolve on a spiritual level. Things must change for us to truly live from that place of oneness we are. But to do that, racism, misogyny, those types of things must go away. And those people that don't want to let those things go are going to kick and they're going to scream the entire way. So while this change is uncertain, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be another side that we arrive on that was better than where we started. And I'm not saying we have to be okay with any of this, because we shouldn't. Because doing so, being okay with what's going on, takes us out of the core teachings of it our spiritual core teachings and other teachings, whether it's unity or science of mind or whatever teachings, Buddhism, whatever your teachings, it takes us out of that core teaching that we are all one. So if you hurt one of us, you hurt all of us. And we shouldn't be okay with that. We should get out and do whatever feels right, whatever we feel we need to do. Because we don't just have to sit back and be passive passengers while this change takes place. We can very much participate in that change, and doing so makes it a little less fearful because we're helping guide that change in the way that we want it to go. So that's one of the main things I want to address today when it comes to change. Oftentimes, change leaves us in this place of uncertainty. Because unless we have a crystal ball and we know exactly how to interpret that crystal ball, we may not know the result of change. We may not know the final resting place of that change, if there even is a resting place. Because it's like I said earlier, change is always happening. We're not going to stop it, but we can work with it. We don't, as I mentioned a bit ago, have to just remain passive during times of change. This is where those things we want to see come into play. Manifestation, for instance. We may think, if I'm just staying home and thinking about what I want to see, I'm not doing anything. That's not true. Manifestation is not a passive thing. Neither are things such as prayer, creating vision boards, making phone calls, volunteering, playing music, laughter, building communities. Whatever it helps to take to drive the change, the direction you want it to go. So going back to the state of the country for a bit, I read a post that this woman had posted, and she said she was in the grocery store parking lot, and or somewhere like that. And this man parks next to her and gets out of the car, and he's wearing a shirt with an American flag on it. And as a veteran, I'm really saddened to see that the American flag has taken this connotation that it shouldn't have taken. But despite that, he's wearing an American flag, and so she thinks he's on the other end of the political spectrum. And her guard goes up. Immediately, she starts feeling a little uncomfortable. She tenses up. But then she looks at the bumper stickers on his car, and she realizes that he's not what she thought. She realizes that he's actually community. So they ended up chatting a bit and hugging, but in him, she found community. So things don't feel good right now, but I choose to believe that we chose to be here in this moment of change. That somewhere on some other time we were in the spiritual realm, and we looked over here. We saw what was going to happen, and we said, you know what? That is when I want to be there. That is when I want to be there and help drive some much needed change. Now, Mandy Hell, author of the Single Woman blog, says, growth is painful. Change is painful. But nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong. And a quote attributed to Socrates says, the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. So today, I choose to stare change in the face. And when the weeds get too thick in front of me, I choose to pull out my bushwhacker and create my path through it, because I know that there is another side. I choose to do that with the country. I choose to do that with my spiritual community, because I know that I am not alone in this. I know that all of you watching this are standing right there beside me, and I know that we are doing all of this together. So yeah, change is happening. It's happening in our country, it's happening in our communities, and it's happening in our churches. And it's happening here at the Unity of Beaverton if you attend the Unity of Beaverton and you're watching this. And whether we realize it or not, it's happening within each of us all the time. The question was never, would change come? The question has always been, how will we meet it? Will we meet it with fear, or will we meet it with courage? Will we close the curtain and pretend nothing is happening? Or will we open the window, let in the fresh air, and help shape what comes next? Because the truth is, we're not just witnesses to change. We are participants in change. Every act of kindness, every stand for justice, every moment we choose compassion instead of division helps guide this change towards something better. So yes, change is happening, and it's happening all around us, all the time. And I don't know about you, but I would rather walk into that change together with courage and an open heart than stand on the sidelines wishing the world would stay the same, and wishing that those old systems wouldn't fall away, because they need to go, and because the world has never stayed the same. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly how it becomes better. Thank you so much for watching. I invite you to attend the Unity of Beaverton if you haven't been there already in Beaverton, Oregon. And if you don't live in the Beaverton area, I invite you to attend every Sunday from our live stream. We would like to see you. If you can't make it live, that's okay too. We broadcast and we meet in person at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. If you can't make that or you can't make it in person, we have recordings available. So I invite you to watch that as well. Thank you so much. Have a great week.